Hello. Welcome to episode 7, but technically episode 1 of Local Knowledge, the official podcast of Western New York Trout Unlimited. Truth be told, I really hated the name Trout Pod and figured now was the time to change it before it really stuck. Even though we love trout fishing, it's really about so much more. So, there you go. The change is official. Talking to folks from the chapter is so easy because we're involved in so much and they're just that damn interesting. This episode is no exception. Project Healing Waters is an organization that uses fly fishing, fly tying, and outdoor pursuits to help veterans. Whether a longtime vet or back fresh from a deployment, Project Healing Waters helps to facilitate the physical and emotional rehabilitation of disabled active duty military service members and veterans through the therapeutic art of fly fishing, including education, fly tying, and casting outings. Here in Western New York, that effort is led by members of Trout Unlimited, specifically new chapter president Ken Kinecki. He's been leading fly tying events at the Buffalo VA and fishing outings for many years, and this summer's looking to be the best yet, with new locations, more events, and more partners that will allow us to say thank you and to support our area veterans. Speaking of events, let's do a quick look at the chapter calendar over the next month. You can check it out at www.wnytroutunlimited.org. This coming Tuesday, the 12th, is our monthly Board of Directors meeting in the back room of Sorrentino's Spaghetti House on Main Street in Williamsville at 7 p.m. It's got a real Godfather-esque vibe to it, but any member is welcome to join us. Just give us a heads up so we know to expect you. Tuesday, May 26th, NHL playoffs allowing, will be our last social and speaker series at the Ridge until the fall. 6 p.m. social, the 7 p.m. presentation from Bill Jedlicka on his fall trip to Alaska. Saturday, May 30th is the annual Caledonia Trout Festival in Caledonia, New York. Vendors, workshops, food, music, and Tom Rosenbauer too. Saturday, June 6th is our second annual accessible fishing event at Hoyt Lake in Delaware Park with Muddy Wheels Accessible Outdoors. This will be the second year we'll be doing this because the first year was just so much fun. But we're going to do it in June because last year we did it in August and it was 80 degrees by 10 a.m. So this is free to the public, and I just got the confirmation from DEC today that this is an official free fishing event. So more info on the website. Monday, June 15th is the next fly tying event at the Buffalo VA, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And Saturday, June 20th, will be our Veterans Fishing outing at Bond Lake Park in Ransomville. That goes from 10 to 2:30. It's free to attend and take part for area veterans, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So get details for all these events on the calendar page at www.troutunlimited. No, I said it wrong. www.wnytroutunlimited.org. There you go. Well, I sat down with Ken Kinecki, and we talked Project Healing Waters and some pretty exciting developments coming up. So have at it, and we will see you at the end. So I am with Ken Kinecki. Ken is the new president of the Western New York chapter, but that doesn't mean he's new. Before that, he was vice president for a couple of years, and he's been involved for many, many, many years. How are you, Ken?
I'm doing great, Jim. How are you?
Good, good. Well, the reason why we're getting together, the main reason, is to talk about Project Healing Waters. Project Healing Waters isn't necessarily a Trout Unlimited initiative. It's kind of its own thing, but why don't you explain what it's all about?
Yeah, Project Healing Waters, it was actually started as part of the VA. They wanted to do some outdoor nature outreach to the veterans. And there's a bunch of various ways that they've done that. And and it all falls under this project Healing Waters, the fishing part for the outreach to the veterans. And then the VA realized, wow, one of the best ways to do this is we can get a hold of um, on the bass side, the BASS, like down south, there's a lot of that. Up in our neck of the woods, Trout Unlimited is one of the lead groups they count on to help those programs. The the program in New York State kind of got mothballed, so, like a lot of programs due to COVID. And then we wanted to resurrect it a bunch of years ago. Got a hold of the VA in Buffalo, and they said, "Sure, let's do it." And we've been doing our fly tying there for going on 3 years now. And we also do a couple fishing events as well.
Cool. And these are for area veterans.
Right. The fly tying is for both the inpatient and outpatient people at the Buffalo VA through their uh, rehabilitative services group. We go up there and we get together with the guys, and it's a lot of fun. It's fun for them. Uh, Initially, it was like kind of all new in that, but over the last year, for sure, I would say we've got like a nice core group of 6 or 7 vets that have been there, and they're actually getting pretty good at tying the flies. So we're doing a lot more there. We've also done a couple fishing events, some in conjunction with the Canadian veterans group called Soldier On, where we've taken a vet from our local area up to southern Ontario and participated with those guys in a couple of fishing events. And there's another one planned for this year in October that we're going to be involved in.
Yeah, you had gone to a couple of those, and you were saying it was pretty spectacular. The time that they show, the veterans up there.
Yeah, the Canadian groups have access to some of these very exclusive trout clubs outside of Toronto. Um, we've gone up and spent some time at some of these bass ponds, and that was very nice as well. But these trout clubs that we go to, like very exclusive, lot of fish. Uh, Everyone there is super nice. It's their group of veterans is usually 20 or 25, and they let I've been sort of like the chaperone for a couple years, and we would take up one of our local vets and fish, and it's been excellent. We now have a lot of great friends up there as well. So
It's very cool of them. Definitely. So, and as far as the stuff, the events at the VA, you said that's for inpatient and outpatient. So, and can any vet show up? And
yeah,
okay,
it's open to everyone. And initially, we've only been using again this their rehabilitative services group sort of reaches out, and that's kind of limiting like the number of people. Uh, but one of the things that we've been working on just very recently, in fact, last week we met with the Lake Erie chapter of FFI, Fly Fishers International, because they would like to help us on some of these veteran programs, and they're going to outreach to some of the other rehabilitative services. There's one here in Amherst, and there's one down in West Seneca, um, and we're hoping that we'll be able to draw in a larger group, and also we're going to have some of those people help us, so we'll have more experienced fly tyers to handle the larger group of veterans. Hopefully, that will be able to bring in. And the other pretty exciting thing, and again, this has just happened in the last week. The group out in Batavia for veteran services, they want to relaunch their program. There used to be a Project Healing Waters program running there. COVID put that on hold. They'd like to relaunch it. The people at the FFI group, they were contacted. There's a guy there who's like I'll take the lead on that. We met, and it looks like we are going to do a fly fishing 101 sort of a get together with this veterans group. They said they have 13 people signed up.
Oh, nice.
And then that we'll do that 1 month, and the following month we're going to do a fishing event. And we just got the location. It's the DeWitt Recreational Area outside of Batavia. It's got a shelter, ADA compliant bathrooms, and there's a 34-acre pond there stocked with trout, but it also has panfish and bluegill and bass and stuff in it. So, and that'll be probably the end of summer. We're thinking we'll do the fly fishing 101 in July, and we'll do the fishing event in August. So that's
Nice.
pretty exciting.
And we'll make sure that we get that up on the chapter website when that information gets finalized.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's happened in the last um, 2 or 3 days. Because again, I just met with them last week, so it's all a lot of this stuff is coming together now.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I think it's really cool that we've been able to bring in other groups, like the Lake Erie chapter of FFI. So,
Yeah, and I think with our outreach to Batavia, um, the Seth Green Trout Unlimited group out of Rochester has has said, "Oh, if you're going to be doing that, we would certainly like to help and participate." And and they have a small group of veterans interested. But if we get like the 13 or so out of Batavia and 6 or 7 out of Rochester, that's 20 people out there fishing, and hopefully between the groups that are working on it, we'll have enough mentors and people to assist those guys. The biggest thing I know when I first we resurrected this, I was so apprehensive about how it was going to go, and were they going to go, oh, this isn't really what we want to do, or it's kind of a niche thing, the whole fly fishing and fly tying. But from the first event that we held at the Buffalo VA, they were great. They were so receptive. They thought they're like, wow, this is sort of weird, you guys with your little hooks and your feathers and stuff. But then it was like, wow, this is kind of fun. And now, like I said, we've got this core group that these guys are itching to go fishing. They're really interested, and we're going to do an event here locally on June 20th at Bond Lake Park up in Niagara County. We're looking to have, last year we did an event in Niagara County. The fishing wasn't that good, but the camaraderie was excellent. We're hoping this year we're going to have some more people, and the fishing's going to be a lot better. I was out there like 10 days ago fishing, and yeah, I was able to catch some bluegill and some bass fairly easily.
that's cool. And we'll get that information up on the chapter website too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
awesome.
So
So
it's an awful.
what would you like to see happen like over the next, months and years as far as Project Healing Waters go? I mean, I know you've got I mean, we've had conversations since you came on as chapter president, and I think you've got a pretty ambitious agenda. I mean, what would you really like to achieve with Project Healing Waters?
Yeah, I mean there's a couple things. All these different events that are happening, and there's also an event on the 13th of June. It's not a Project Healing Waters event. It's a Veterans Fishing Day out at the Iroquois National Wildlife Refuge. We were out there a couple of years ago. They I don't know how the person got a hold of me, but they did, and we showed up and we tied some flies. And again, the fishing there wasn't great, but they were happy to have us out because again, for the veterans, they just like getting out, doing stuff, being outside with their families. Um, I think a lot of it, they're just happy to know people appreciate them and would, you know, can open some doors for them. Long term, I'd like us to, and we're working on this currently, reconnect with the national level of Project Healing Waters so that on some of these fishing events, especially as they start to grow from, 5 or 6 people, once you're up to 20, we need some support, and we're working on that. Hopefully, with there's some new people at the national level that want to help us get some of this going again. Uh, and the other thing is, I'd like to keep the at the Buffalo VA, keep that program going, since again we have this core group who are now, those guys are, there's a group of guys that are actually now really interested. They're like, no, I want to tie flies. They're now telling me what they want. Like, oh, let's do some of these kind of flies. Let's do some
Nice.
deer hair poppers and some of the more difficult fly tying patterns and that. They're like, no, let's do that now. They sort of get the easy stuff, and they're like, let's move on and do some other things. So yeah, I'm hoping that's what we can do, is some bigger events, get some help from national, but keep our monthly fly tying going, because that group is, there's actual real interest from a group of guys now. So
That's cool. So, what do you think they're getting the most out of? The camaraderie, the fish stories, the therapeutic aspect of fly tying, or a little bit of everything?
I camaraderie. Uh, from the very first time we did it, that was the best part of it. That they just knew that, oh wow, look at, there's these people that I didn't know any of them at the time. I was just showing up out of clear blue, but like, wow, these people are taking time out of their day to come up and show us this. And again, the first few, um, we had a lot of people just sitting out, going, no, I'm not going to tie. I'm just going to sit here and watch. But then you would see after a couple of months, they were like, no, I'll give it a try, and they'd step in, and yeah. So to me, it's the camaraderie. Yeah, we built some pretty good friendships. Some of that core group was at our fishing event that we had up last year in Niagara County, so it was great to, these people that we had just seen in a classroom we're out on the water, we were out casting, we were showing them, oh, there's this fly that you tied. Here, let me put it on your line. We'd show them how to tie the knots, and they were out there casting away.
Cool. Now, admittedly, you got a room full of 6 or 8 people or 20 people or what have you. Um, Flies are really small. I hear we had an infusion of some pretty interesting tech in order to make the, order to make the instruction easier for folks.
Yeah, that's one of the things we wanted to, actually, in the room that we had been assigned there at the Buffalo VA. We wanted to do some video stuff. You can go on YouTube, and every fly in the world, there's like video clips of how to tie them. But we could never really get that working there. It was the Wi-Fi inside the hospital was hard to get on. It's like they didn't want like outside people on, but they put us in like a new room there now that's already set up for audio visual. So over the last 4 months of our fly tying, we open our session with a 5 to 10 minute YouTube video clip. Here's the fly we're going to tie. People get to see it before they even start, and so it's much easier than, once we get going, everyone can follow along. And we sort of re-rack the video then and go, we'll go a minute at a time and stop it, and everyone will do what the steps they saw there. Let's do the tail. Okay, let's do the body. Let's do the ribbing. Let's do the wings. Let's do our hackle. Let's finish off the fly. And um, it's been great for us because it's easier for us to teach. But I think it's also been great for them because they get to see how it's done, and then slowly, watch the steps that you need to take to make the flies. And
That's
that's why
cool.
some of the guys now are actually like, oh, look at this. I can really do this. We did the Royal Coachman streamer, and that was sort of like this turning point. I was like, that's a pretty tough fly. There's a tail, and there's a back body and a floss center section and another bit of stuff, and then wings, and then a hackle. But the guys were like, no, I totally get it. And we made it through, and those flies came out and they looked good. And they were like, oh, yeah, I can do this. So, like I
Nice.
said, now they're telling me, yeah, they want to do some deer hair poppers. And then we're going to do the next one before our fishing event. We're going to tie some foam flies, little foam beetles and foam crickets and foam ants, and we're going to use those flies when we go on our fishing event, because those will be the type of flies that will work out great. So
That's cool. That's when it all comes together.
yeah,
The first time that you catch a fish on a fly that you tied.
yeah, especially if it's like on top, like that's these little the foam flies sort of float on top, and you can give them a little jerk, tie some little rubber legs on it. They have some action, and then you see even a small fish comes up and grabs it, and you hook that. Yeah, there's you get a lot of wide eyes, and you get some hooping and hollering, even if it's only a 6-inch bluegill.
Well, yeah, definitely. Cool. So if somebody wants to, if area veteran or family of a veteran, I mean, obviously could be a young veteran, could be an older veteran. Um, what's the best way for them to, kind of keep track of what we've got going on as far as the Project Healing Waters stuff?
Um, well, we're going to post the dates for the fly tying for the rest of the year on our website. So you can go to the Western New York Trout Unlimited website and our calendar, and that stuff will be posted. The fishing events that are coming up are going to be posted. I know you have an event on the 6th. There's that one at the Iroquois National Wildlife on the 13th. Our veterans event is going to be on the 20th. Again, in July and August, I think we're going to have these ones in Batavia. The one in Canada is for October. But if you go to look at that calendar at our website, all that should be there. If if you like, you people could just um, text me or send me an email. My numbers and my email are at the Trout Unlimited, Western New York Trout Unlimited website as well. And I'd be happy to talk to them and let them know, yeah, just show up. That's the other nice thing about the stuff that we do for Project Healing Waters. All the equipment, all the materials, the hooks, everything you need. And then when we go fishing, the rods and reels and the lines, they're all provided. All you need to do is show up and, participate.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
that would be the best way to do it. Check the calendar and then go to the Western New York Trout Unlimited website. You can email me, text me, call me. My phone number's on there. I've talked to some guys here recently that had been in the program sort of a year and a half ago, lost touch, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to have a fishing event? Yeah, we're in." So
Nice. I'm glad that the word is growing and more folks are getting involved and that people are coming back. That's it's an important thing.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, I thank you, Ken. With all the different stuff we've got going on, I'm sure we will hear you on another episode. But your work with growing the Project Healing Waters, is definitely, I'm sure, appreciated by a lot of veterans around the area, and I'm looking real forward to seeing it grow.
Yeah, I appreciate your help too, because I know our social media outreach was not that great a couple of years ago, but you've done outstanding work there. So again, it makes it easy if people want to go get to our site and look at our calendar. They'll
Not too
be able
bad for an old Gen Xer.
they'll be able to see all the events that are coming up as well. Yeah, and I should mention too, there's it's a non-fishing event, but it's actually um, it's a pretty large fishing festival out in Caledonia, New York. Uh, very friendly, lot of food, people from all over the East Coast. Very famous fishing instructor from the Orvis Company, Tom Rosenbauer, who grew up in Rochester. He's come back every year now for a couple of years to give some presentations there. And I'm doing a presentation at that trout festival on Wiskoy Creek and all the great work that Trout Unlimited's done out there for the last bunch of years. So
Yeah, definitely.
and I invite everyone to come out. It's a really great time, and there's a lot of good food and drink and a lot of good people there. There's something for everyone.
That's the thing. It's, I brought the family there last year. We spent a few hours, half the day there. There was just a ton of stuff to look at, a ton of stuff to do. The different local, I think we spent, I don't know, I probably spent about $40-50 on hot sauce, but, so it's definitely a good time. So it's definitely worth the trip.
Yep.
And you could find out information about that on wnytroutunlimited.org. So we've got all of that information on the event calendar. So
Yeah, very family friendly. Bring the kids out.
cool. Well, thank you, Ken.
Thanks,
And
Ken.
I guess I will see you at the meeting next week.
I'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Take care, my friend.
Thanks for listening to Trout Pod, the official podcast of Western New York Trout Unlimited. You can find us on all the major podcast apps, including Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, and all the rest. Keep in the know on all things WNYTU by visiting our website at wnytroutunlimited.org and signing up for the email list, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and following us on Facebook and Instagram. Contact the podcast directly at podcast@wnytroutunlimited.org. Talk to you again real soon. Thanks for listening.